Are you a chiropractor with a struggling practice, having a hard time finding and keeping patients? Is your staff falling short of expectations? I'm Dr. Scott Sawyer, and DC Trainings has the answers that you need. So tune in now and find out how. Hello, everybody. Welcome to DC Trainings. I'm Dr. Scott Sawyer, and Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you all for tracking along through Module 6, because today is our day where we're wrapping up Module 6, which is Goals and Marketing. And we've been going through week by week. Today is actually the 8th week in the series. So we'll be wrapping it up. And I want to invite all of your questions, comments, input as far as how we go through this webinar today or through our podcast. And all you need to do to participate in this is just simply raise your hand or type in a note, and I'll be happy to connect with you. My goal is to finish this module strong. We've covered a lot of information on marketing, on goals, on just lots of details for running a successful, profitable practice. And today, as we bring this in for a landing, I want to make sure that you've got all the T's crossed and the I's dotted with everything that you need to make that happen. So let's dive into our topic today, which our topic is reactivation marketing. And reactivation marketing, by definition, what this means is that we are contacting and connecting with our former patients, the patients who have been active with us and for whatever reason left the practice and they're not coming in anymore, but we want to reach out to them and invite them back in. So it may have been that they left because they had moved out of town, or maybe there was just a change in their priorities and they needed to move some things around. And so, unfortunately, but it does happen, chiropractic needed to take a back seat for a while, but it doesn't mean that it's the end all where you're not going to ever see them again. So the importance of reactivation marketing can't be overstated. The reason why is that we all have former inactive patients that used to come and see us and don't anymore. So when we talk about reactivation marketing, what we're really talking about is staying in touch with those patients who, for whatever reason, have left the office. We want to stay in touch with them, whether it's through, the term that I use is top of mind. We want to make sure that we maintain top of mind awareness with our former patients so that when the need arises, when their perceived need arises, you doctors are the first one they think about, right? So maybe, they came in with a headache and you adjusted them and it was a miraculous cure. Their headache was gone. It was just vanished into thin air. And now they're feeling great and they're going about their normal day-to-day lives. And that's where these priority shifts can happen. So they stop coming in. Well, since they're not getting adjusted, their subluxations are probably building up more pressure on the nerves again. Oftentimes it's lifestyle that contributes to subluxations. So chances are they're probably continuing with the same lifestyle. So now what we want to do is stay in touch with them so that, let's suppose those headaches come back for some reason, you are the first one they think about and want to come back in. So how do we maintain top of mind awareness? Or how do we maintain that awareness where you're the first person they think of when the need arises? That's what we're going to cover today. Now, before we move on from the current slide, I want to remind everyone that our upcoming seminar, which is called Team Development, this is Module 1, where we'll be covering everything from finding applicants or finding potential CAs or doctors to developing a great winning team to maintaining a great winning team. And all the way from A to Z along that timeline is what we'll be covering in that module. There's another topic that we cover in this module in team development, which comes up a lot on my calls with doctors, and that is hiring an associate. It seems to be something that many doctors want to do. Many chiropractors want to hire an associate. They talk about it, they dream about it, they plan to someday get to it. And yet what holds a lot of doctors back is they think, well, that I'm potentially biting off more than I can chew by hiring an associate, which couldn't be further from the truth. Okay. I really want to emphasize coming to this seminar. If you're, maybe you don't need an associate, that's fine. I'll show you how to find great CAs, like A players, and I'll show you how to maintain a great team of CAs. But if you're in the market or even thinking about bringing on an associate doctor to your practice to share the work or to expand your practice, then you don't want to miss this seminar, because we'll be going into exactly how to make this happen. And I have a couple of doctors who are already, I know, are going to be there, and they've been asking me specific questions that we'll be addressing during that seminar to make the transition of hiring another doctor much easier. So that's my little sales pitch infomercial for Module 1. It'll be on January 21st. It'll be live at my office and streamed virtually at the same time. And I expect or hope to see all of you there so we can cover this topic in great detail. So that'll be, again, on January 21st. So that's just a couple weeks out, about a little less than 3 weeks out. And we'll be having a great day together at my office, or if you're going to virtually stream, you can do that as well. Okay, so let's dive into reactivation marketing and talk about how and why this is so important. Now, there's a number of ways, or a variety of ways, that you can stay in touch with your inactive patients. We're going to talk about the newsletter first, an email newsletter. So I want to just sidetrack for a minute here, because the email newsletter is something that, again, keeps you top of mind with regards to your patients, both current existing patients and your inactive patients. And many website companies will provide this as a service. I know the website company that I use, which is called Pegasus Marketing, and I've shared their information with you. It's on our website if you're interested. But they have a sort of an automatic email that they send out, or that they provide for the clients that utilize their website services. And then those emails go out, and they're really health-based emails, right? They cover everything from good nutrition to exercise to just general optimistic lifestyle stuff. And so it's a wide variety of things that's really designed to appeal to a wide variety of patients. And one of the perks of being a practice member in my office is that my patients have access to this newsletter. So we encourage them to sign up for the newsletter, and it comes out once a quarter, and it's automatically sent to all of the patients who've signed up for it. In addition to that, and I'll go back to my screen here. In addition to that quarterly newsletter, what this provides us is an opportunity to initiate some promotions for the practice. Now, when we say promotions, these are specific things that we're doing to encourage the reactivation of former patients, and to encourage new patients, and to just keep our current patients engaged for that whole top of mind concept I was talking about before. So here are 4 examples, or 4 quarterly examples of things to incorporate into a newsletter as promotions in your office. So the first one is in February. So we'll be doing this next month, and it's called the Winter De-Stress. And what we do in this is we start to generate activity and interest through accumulating raffle tickets in the office. So and here's some examples. So actually, there's 4 examples I want to give you first. These are the topics. So if you had a quarterly promotion for your office, and again, you're tying this in to the newsletters so that it's being promoted to both your current and inactive patients, then the quarterly event is something that's celebrated with a prize to be won. Okay, so here's how this plays out. We have a winter de-stress in February. In May, we have a summer kickoff. And in August, a back to school promotion. And in November, a holiday gear up. So as a prize, and I'll get to the prize in a second, but as a prize, what we're doing is we're building up raffle tickets in the office. So as an example, every patient that comes in, for every visit they get during the time of this promotion, say it's a month before the raffle, every visit gets a ticket. Every check in on Facebook or one of the social media platforms, that gets another ticket. As a gift for referring new patients into the practice, that's 10 tickets. See, and then there's lots of different ways that you can encourage patients to participate in this. And the goal is for each patient to accumulate lots of tickets towards this drawing. And in this case, in February, the drawing would be a package of a massage package. So maybe they get 3 massages at your favorite spa in town. And that's, it could be $150 value, right? Now, it could also be to where you work with the massage place, the spa, and let them know that you're promoting their facility. And it would be helpful if they could give you a discount on these massages because you're promoting their facility. So there's sort of a give and take or a win-win relationship that can be built here, where you're promoting their establishment, and in exchange, they're giving you a discounted rate on massages, which then are available for your patients to win at the normal ticket price. And so obviously it's a big deal. This is something that's really special. You can do the same for a restaurant. You could do the same for a gym membership. You could do several different ideas for prizes to be won. Another one, as you can see on your screen, is in May for the summer kickoff. We want it to be something that sort of promotes health in a step up kind of way. So that could be a nutrition cleanse. You could also do back to school and have an appreciation event where you have food in the office. And we have the materials for you to do this on the website. So I'm being a little bit brief, just in the interest of time, but I'm sharing these ideas with you so that you can start to plot out your marketing for the year 2023 with these quarterly events. Okay, one in February, one in May, one in August, one in November. February, massage package. May, a nutrition cleanse. In August, for back to school, an appreciation event. And for the holiday gear up, so we want to do it right before the holidays, before things get so crazy, we could raffle off some nice prizes. It could be some t-shirts with your logos, some lumbar supports, maybe a sleeping pillow that's ergonomic. You can customize these gifts. So those are just some ideas to promote through your newsletter, which is emailed. I just had this question emailed in this week, speaking of emails, from one of our members who was asking if I still mail the newsletter out to all of our inactive patients. And the answer was no, we simply email those out to our patients. And there's patients that haven't been in for years that still stay in touch through the emailed newsletter. So it's really a great way to keep your former patients engaged for reactivation marketing. Let's jump ahead. On those quarterly events, okay, again, we're kind of going into having a quarterly event for your office throughout the year to have something to build up to, and it creates excitement and enthusiasm and engagement for your existing patients. But at the same time, you're promoting this to your former patients and inviting them to come back in and re-engage with you, right? So here's some examples. Another quarterly event that you can celebrate is Valentine's Day, right? You might have a box of chocolates as a prize, or you might have and this is kind of the same thing. I'm being redundant, but here's those quarterly events: Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, back to school, holidays. Sorry, that was kind of redundant, but having these quarterly events tied in with your newsletter is important. Number 3, birthday message. Now, this is something that you can find these companies online. It's a great tool. You can have a recorded message go out through a text message to all of your current and former patients. And the message could be in your voice, doctors. You just simply get on a mic, just like I'm doing right now, and you record a very nice happy birthday. It doesn't even have to have the patient's name, okay? Because that would be a step up. I'll show you a way to do that in just a minute, but it could be your recorded voice just saying, "Hey, John, I just want to wish you a happy birthday. This is Dr. Sawyer from Sawyer Chiropractic. We wish you all the best in health in the coming year. And of course, if there's ever anything you need, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here to take care of you." Done, right? That's a nice happy birthday message. And it just lets them know you're there, you're connected, and it keeps them engaged with you. Now, there's other email programs that you can use for the birthday message where you actually email out, and it's a custom email that says happy birthday, and it can have some GUI to it or some flair. But in that case, then of course it would be custom with their name, and it's a nice email message. And then to combine the two, there's actually another program that you can use, and you can look these up online, but it actually is an email that goes out, and in the email is a link to click that plays the recorded message. So you can get fancy with it, but that's another way to keep your patients engaged with you. I started to say your inactive patients engaged, but it's really inactive patients and existing patients keeping them engaged with you through a birthday message once a year. That's another arrow in your quiver to let your patients know that you're still here to take care of them when the need arises. And for holiday email blast, now for this one, this is sort of a year end you would ramp up for. So given that it's not the end of the year right now, put this in your tickler for the end of the year coming up. But the way this works is to send out a holiday email blast. Maybe I know one of our members has, and we do this too, but we haven't done it for a couple of years. But Santa Claus comes to the office and brings gifts and treats for the kids, and we have a big event. And that's another way to you'd want to promote that through a holiday email blast. So again, using these emails to keep your patients connected. These are some great ways to do that. And then tying those in with an event. So it's not just digital, it's actually engaging your patients and former patients in a way that lets them know that you're thinking about them, but also there's cool activities happening at their chiropractor's office that they definitely want to be a part of on an ongoing basis. So those are some really important examples and ways that you can do that. Okay, I want to show you the biannual phone call script, and I'm going to do that through the website. But the last of these 5 tools for reactivating former patients is twice a year, you'll have a phone call where you'll actually call your patients, or you could text them. I know there's a lot of patients that don't answer their phone anymore, but the text is sort of a hit and miss. As far as I'm concerned, the phone call is much better. One way to do it would be to text first that you're going to be calling and then call, but you want to get some actual human connectivity through a phone call to do the reactivation phone call. And what it consists of, which I'll show you in the script in a moment, is really having a little conversation with your former patients and inviting them back in. We'll dive into that in just a moment. When your marketing is done effectively, and that's the key, is effectively, it will transform your practice into a high energy, positive health center with an abundance of new patients. Now, the abundance of new patients is important because when you have an abundance of new patients, some of those patients are going to be brand new patients that you've never seen before. And some of those patients are going to be former patients that you're inviting to come back and see you again, right? And as I've said in seminars before, that it could be as much as 50% of your total new patients are patients that you've seen before, meaning that there's constantly new patients coming in to your office. And I'm in practice just like you. Yesterday, I was in practice all day adjusting patients. We had two of our new patients. We had 4 yesterday, but 2 of them were both patients that I've seen before. And one of them I hadn't seen in 10 years. And her name's Corinne, and she came with her husband, and I hadn't seen her in over a decade. It was so nice to see her. Now, for whatever reason that she didn't come in for over a decade, that's beside the point. The point is that when she felt like she needed to get adjusted, she knew who to call, and she called, and she came right in. Now, while I was here last week after our webinar, the office was closed. We weren't seeing patients, but I was doing some work in the office, and the door opened and in walked a patient. I'd forgot to lock the doors, and I was here, so it was fine. But anyways, the patient that walked in was another patient that I hadn't seen for several years, and she moved away, but then she moved back to Santa Cruz. And when she moved back, she said, I'm back in town. I want to come in and get adjusted. So really having these former patients coming back in to see you means a couple things. One, you're available to see new patients, and we want to have that in place for you. Actually, 3 things. 2, to reactivate a former patient costs a lot less money than it does to reactivate a former patient, right? It actually is said that it costs 5 times more to establish new business than to reconnect with old business. 5 times more. So the second is it costs you much less to have at least some of your efforts focused around former patients so that they are feeling good about coming back to see you. And the third component of this is that when they left, what it means to us, and this is a great compliment, it means that when they left, if they're comfortable coming back to see us, that we left a good taste in their mouth. See, when a patient calls to discontinue care or they text message, I can't come anymore, for whatever reason they stop coming, that's their business. What we want to make sure of is that we leave the door open so that when and if or should they decide to come back, they feel welcomed. They feel like there was no bad taste in their mouth. They weren't left with a balance. They didn't get a bill 2 months later that they weren't expecting. Everything was left great, happy, and they felt like, hey, when I need to go back, I'm going to make a phone call and I'll be back. And that's where we want to leave that. So if we can leave that as a parting frame of mind, then, as I said on the screen, your marketing, not only does it, do you want to be marketing to new patients that you've never seen before? Of course you do. But what it does is it helps your marketing so that you can spread it out and diversify it in a way. Yes, we're marketing for new patients. That's great. But we're also staying in touch with our former patients, because we know that our former patients, a percentage of them are going to come back and see us, which is what we want to happen in the big picture. Okay, so just wanted to reemphasize that. And by doing it in this way, I started to mention it, we're diversifying our marketing calendar. So we don't have all of our eggs in one basket. So the screen says a diversified marketing calendar guarantees a constant stream of new patients who are committed to lifetime care. So this is just one aspect of diversifying our marketing calendar and ensuring that we always have lots of new patients coming in. So here's an example on the screen of a marketing calendar. And this is an example from my office. So we have all these different marketing events that are happening. And I encourage you, use the marketing calendar that we provide for DC trainings and look at the year ahead and make sure that you don't have any months with nothing in them, right? Because those are the months where you're going to scratch your head and say, where'd all the new patients go? Why is it so slow, right? Or maybe worse yet, you have a month of low new patients, and then the subsequent month, because you don't have as many patients coming in on initial corrective care, your patient visit numbers drop, right? And it's a result of the prior month when you didn't have as many new patients. So when there's a continuous stream of new patients that are coming into your office, it ensures that your patient base and volume stays consistent. And with a consistent patient base of active patients, what does that do for your income, right? The income and the profitability of your practice also remains consistent. That's important too. So these are just some examples that we have where we go through each, and again, on the screen, it's showing the calendar where we go through and we look at each month of the year and we decide way ahead of time which months are a little slow. We're going to add some more events to those months. It says add events to fill each month, track the new patients from each event, and repeat the successful events. So there are events that we've done that were not successful, and we decided after we did them, that wasn't a lot of fun. We're not going to do that again. So those are some examples where you want to make sure you're looking at those events. We've made this easy for you on the marketing calendar, because not only do you see which events were happening for the month, we also see what the goal of new patients was and the actual new patients. Here's an example. We did a health talk where we went to one of the local companies in town, and we were speaking on just health topics, and we scheduled a bunch of new patients. That was the fun part. I left pretty excited from the event. I thought, oh, this is a great one. I'm going to want to come back here and do this. And for whatever reason, based on how the scheduling was done or the company itself, actually, there was another wrinkle in it, in that afterwards we found out that their insurance didn't cover chiropractic care. Going into it, we didn't know that, but this particular insurance plan by this company didn't offer chiropractic as part of their benefits. So even though we scheduled lots of new patients from that event and we came away really excited, when the dust had settled and we went back and looked at the numbers didn't meet what our expectations were. In other words, the new patient goal was far above what the actual new patient number was. So we canceled it. We didn't go back. Now, if I had done another event, like there was one we did at another company in town, and they have great insurance and their patients are very much more oriented towards being healthy. In other words, they're much more proactive with things like chiropractic care to help them stay healthy. We had a great response. We had lots of new patients that came in. So of course, that's an event that we're going to want to repeat next year to make sure that we continue our marketing in that way. So as it relates to the overall theme of Module 6, which is goals and marketing, make sure that you have a full marketing calendar and make sure that your marketing is in place so that you have all the new patients that you can possibly take care of, so that we can go out and really make a positive impact in the world from the standpoint of providing chiropractic care and keeping people from being subluxated. All right, we're going to shift gears for a minute and talk about the responsibilities within the office as far as your marketing, right? Because I don't want to have you overwhelmed because you're trying to market so much and then things start to fall apart back home in the practice. Okay. So here's some examples. The PDC and the PCA responsibilities are to organize the marketing strategies. Now within DC trainings, and I'll show you that in a moment, we have the focuses. There's 5 focuses that we use. And within those 5 focuses, we have the new patients, we have the report of findings, we have the patient visits, we have care plan renewals, and we have revenue. Now, as far as marketing fills all those focuses, right? What I like to do in my practice, and this is a question I've had from many of you, so I'm sure this will be helpful for those of you who have not heard it yet, is I like to assign the marketing person to the new patient focus. Okay. In other words, the person who's in charge of the marketing and making sure our marketing calendar is full for the year, that person, in terms of their reporting, is connected to the new patient focus. Okay. And that way we can see specific success rates as they relate to that person's responsibilities. Okay. So that's sort of the big picture benefit of the marketing calendar. So we want to organize the marketing strategies. We want to assign a team focus or make sure they're accountable. So in this case, this would be the new patient focus. And we want to then inspect the results after each event, which is what I had talked about. Look at the results from your events. Were they good? Great. Let's do them again. Were they not so good? Well, maybe we don't want to do that again, or maybe we want to change some of the ways that we structured that. That way we will repeat those successful action steps towards reaching our new patient goal. So, and then we want to measure our success rates. Again, I'm in full-time practice just like you. So any feedback from the doctors of DC trainings and how we can enhance serving the doctors so that it becomes easier to run a very successful practice, I'm all for it. And as for those of you who've known me for more than a couple minutes, you know, I do this because I love chiropractic. I want chiropractic to be as big and as great and as beautiful as it can possibly be as a profession. So anything that we can do together to make individual doctors or help individual doctors to be more successful expands the profession in a way that we can all serve more people. And we know that by serving more people, those people are able to enhance their own life experience. They can enjoy optimum health, and that shares in everything that they do with their families, their loved ones, their children, their work, their hobbies. All of those areas are enhanced when we're operating through a level of optimum health, or as we call it in chiropractic, subluxation-free level of health. So that's where I just get so much joy in working with doctors and hearing your feedback in terms of how you're able to serve more people and do it in an easier way. And of course, stay as profitable as you can, because you can't run a business for free. So again, thank you all for being part of DC trainings. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. And in the meantime, any questions you have, just email them to dctrainings@gmail.com. And I will look forward to seeing you next week. We have 2 more weeks before the seminar. Those will be Q&A webinars. So we will rehash on some of the topics and some of the questions that have been emailed in. And I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks again for joining.
If you would like to become a member of DC Trainings, be sure to head on over to dctrainings.com to get started today.